Hey, DUALpreneur, are you just tired? Like you need some rest? Yeah, me too. My next guest is going to tell us the 7 types of rest that we need to get, especially as DUALpreneurs. Welcome to the DUALpreneur podcast, where we feature amazing people with side gigs and side hustles, as well as expert guests to share tips on starting and building successful businesses. I'm your host, Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money, and I am the founder of DUALpreneur. I am excited to have this conversation. One, because my sister girl is on, Dr. Chantrise Holliman. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now
Okay,
we've
that
known each
intro
other,
was fire.
huh?
That intro was fire.
I'm trying to tell you. You know how
Okay,
I do. You
all
know how
right.
I do. This is how we do it. Uh, so we've known each other a long, long time.
Yeah,
Long, long, long. At least I think it's going on almost 10 years.
it is.
And we've been through a lot together. I mean, the first time I met her, she was this little thing. And I'm trying to keep up with her. We're walking, right? I'm trying to keep up with her. And her little leg, she's just walking and I have to run to keep up with her. But you kind of helped me get in straight shape. I appreciate you for that.
You did, and you
And
cussed
we
me out every
I
step of the
cussed you out every morning. Every morning. That was our
way. Yep,
bond.
yep.
Come on, cuss me out. Go on. Come on. Let's go. And then we had our quarterly brunches.
Yes, where she would cuss me out some more.
Yeah. That shows you I love you, right?
I
Exactly.
mean, but a lot of where I am now is because of those loving cussing out sessions
Pushing. We'll call it
back then.
pushing.
Pushing. She pushed me, y'all.
Pushing.
She did.
I did. I
She
kind of
did.
pushed her off the cliff a couple times, but
She did.
I did. But thank you for joining us. You are my resilience queen. Before we get into what we're talking about, this rest thing, there's 7 types. I'm like, I can't even figure out one. The
Listen,
first one, okay? But there's seven types of rest we need to get
yeah.
as solopreneurs. It was people, period. But still, but before we get into that, tell everybody how awesome and amazing you are, because I already know. But let everybody know how awesome and amazing you are.
My name is Dr. Chantrise Holliman. Only person who calls me that is my dad because he's just a proud father. And so what I am is I am a resilience strategist. So what does that mean? So first of all, let's just talk about the fact that when it comes to the word resilience, most women, especially Black women, hate that word. And I get it because the definition of resilience has to do with getting knocked down and getting back up again and figuring out how to get back up again over and over and over. And that is exhausting. So in 2018, and actually it's almost been 5 years, I survived a widowmaker heart attack, and complications led me to become disabled. So when it comes to resilience, this is something that I live because I had to completely rebuild my life all over again at the age of 45. And so during that process of recovery, what I discovered is that there are 7 principles, number 7 keeps coming up, of resilience, because people would see me and want to know how I was thriving and why I wasn't, sitting like a bump on a log on the sofa, because I lost my legs and I became partially paralyzed as a result of that heart attack. So, to make a long story short, I've spent the past 5 years of my life perfecting these 7 strategies for resilience. So when people, women specifically, come to me and say, well, I've had this situation in my life, I need to get back on my feet, what do I do? I share with them these 7 principles. Now, my definition of resilience, and the reason why I call myself a resilience strategist, is because my definition is different. So when we think about resilience, we think about resilience being having the ability to get knocked down and get back up repeatedly. I have a different definition of resilience. My definition of resilience is this: choosing to thrive despite what life has thrown at you. That is my definition of resilience. Regardless of what the world tells you, regardless of what society tells you, regardless of what your circumstances tell you, you must be, you decide to live your very best life. That to me is resilience. And that's what I talk about. And that's what I help women do. And yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
amazing. Oh, I love that you choose. It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
You choose to live your best life.
Yeah. And
Despite,
overcoming any obstacle is a choice, because you
right,
can decide to not. You can just be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to waste away.
right.
And I was in that place, and you know that because you were around when all of that happened. It took me about 6 months for me
Yeah.
to be like, okay, this sitting on the sofa is some BS.
Not
And I don't
working
do this anymore.
I think I cussed you out again. I'm not
You
sure,
did. You did.
but it's
You
like,
did.
okay, you had
Yep.
your time. It's time to get up now.
Yep. Yep.
I think we let you sulk for a good while. You had every right to sulk and everything, and why me and all that. And then when it got to be too long, time to get your butt up, boo.
Trying to get your butt up. And now
That's amazing. So now that we understand resilience and that it is a choice to live your best life despite your circumstances, now let's get on this rest, because one of the things that dualpreneurs suffer from is not getting enough rest. We're
listen.
dealing with family, work, friends, life, health, wealth, and then we want to do a side business to help with all that.
Right.
And oh, by the way, we still got to eat. And oh, by the way, we still got to sleep. Right. And a lot of us are doing our side business after everybody goes to sleep, after we get off work, and we're up till midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning working on our side business. Then we got to get up and do life all over again.
Right.
And a lot of us we're getting sleep, but we're not getting rest.
And
Now,
I'm so glad that you said that, because there's a difference between sleep and rest.
right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I get a lot of sleep, but I still wake up tired. I am not getting rest. But I thought it was just one. Now, no, maybe two, right? I thought, okay, I'm mentally exhausted. I'm mentally tired, right? I just need to stop. But I also like physically, I just thought there were two. I still need work on both of those, but there's 7.
Listen. So let me tell you. First of all, let me preface this by saying I did not come up with these. This is not.
Yeah, because you about to get cussed out again. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. These are not my ideas. But I will tell you that okay. So the person who came up with these 7 ideas of rest is a woman by the name of Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. She's an internist. She's a physician, and I believe she's based here in Atlanta. And I was actually working on a proposal for a healthcare organization out of New York. They wanted me to put together a half-day retreat. And so we had the whole conversation. I said, okay, let me start looking around to see what kinds of things I can include in this retreat. And I came across Dr. Dalton Smith's TED Talk. Funny thing, she did her TED Talk the same year that I did my TED Talk in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So that was amazing. But I watched her TED Talk. It was about 10 minutes, and I was floored. And of course, knowing me, I had to go down all of the rabbit holes that were associated with why we don't get enough rest and what rest is. And so she has a quiz that you can take, and I'll send you the link on, so you can determine which types of rest you need, and then offer suggestions on how you can get them. So there are 7, she identified 7 different types of rest, with physical rest being the first one.
All right. So let's talk about this physical rest. We all kind of know what the physical rest is. So the physical rest is that just going to sleep or laying down or whatever?
This is so amazing. Okay. No, it's not. So Dr. Dalton Smith identifies 2 types of physical rest that we need. There's the passive rest and the active rest. So passive rest is indeed sleep. That's your midday naps. That's getting your 8-9 hours of sleep at night. That's passive rest because you don't have to do anything. You just lie down and it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Active rest, which is what kind of blew me away. Active rest are things like stretching, yoga, going for a walk,
meditation,
anything that helps you in a physical way to just kind of decompress. So
Oh,
we may be getting some passive rest, which is that sleep piece. But if we're still waking up and we're still exhausted, we may not be getting any active rest. We may not be meditating, praying, stretching,
working out.
working out is a
Oh, so
tag.
anything that releases that stress or
Yep,
helps you to decompress.
yep,
Okay, I get it.
yep,
So
yep, yep, yep.
active and passive physical rest. I get it. Which is another confirmation that my butt needs to go up and go to the gym, but
Well,
whatever. Okay.
well,
So what's the second one?
the
What's
second
what's the second rest?
second rest is e mm,
Isn't it the
uh,
mental or
the
something?
mental. Yes, mental rest. Now, this is a big one for me because I'm the person whose brain doesn't know how to shut off. So if
That
we've
would be
ever
me.
seen the meme, and I know you and I share that, we ever, see the meme where, someone has a picture of their computer or their laptop and it's got like 77 tabs open
Yeah.
and they're like, this is my brain. That's me.
Yes.
So when it comes to mental rest, this is something where I struggle because my brain is always on go. When I go to
Mhm.
sleep, my brain is always on go. So to get this type of rest, what I do is I have to turn my brain off. And the way that I turn my brain off is by doing things that don't require me to use my brain. So for
Mm.
me, what that looks like is like I have like mindless games on my phone.
Yes. I thought I was the only one that uses games as mental rest.
Right.
Like
Yep.
I'll do a crossword puzzle, but that gives me rest and it helps me to fall asleep.
And see, for me, the crossword puzzle is too stimulating because of my vocabulary. So I spend a lot of time trying to figure out. So I do stuff like matching colors, like putting blocks like in a line, things like that. Or the Calm app is my best friend
Mm,
because on the Calm app, I can listen to a sleep story and listen to
mm.
somebody else tell me this lovely story. Like right now, I'm listening to Voyage to the Stars with LeVar Burton. Yes, LeVar Burton of
Ooh,
Reading
LeVar Buzz.
Rainbow
You just made me download the Calm app.
and
That's
Star
all you
Trek.
needed to say.
And he
Man,
tells this story about the various planets. I've never gotten through the entire sleep story. It's 43 minutes. I'm
and
usually
it's
about
LeVar Burton.
LeVar
The
Burton, Reading
man, oh man, oh
Rainbow.
Shevitz.
reading
Look,
reading rainbow. And by the time he gets to like Mars, I don't know what planets are after Mars because I've never gotten past Mars. But that's how I get my mental rest, and it works every single time. And there's like a series of them, not just
mm.
him, but Tabitha Brown is on the Calm app now.
Oh
uh
wow.
so sleep stories is how I get my mental rest. It really helps me to take my brain.
I watch Andy Griffith. It doesn't take any brain power to watch Andy
That is
Griffith.
true. That is true. Andy Griffith. Yeah.
I I will
Yep.
watch Andy Griffith. I watch mindless TV
Yep.
that will help my brain to stop thinking.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we got physical rest, which is the passive and active. We have the mental rest. Now, the social rest, help me understand, because I'm already an introvert. Nobody believes me.
No one believes me
I
either.
am an
But
introvert.
yeah,
I love
social.
being by myself,
Me
but
too. Me too.
I might
So
have this one hands down, though.
you probably do because I know I do. So social rest is when we have to um, break away from people. We have to get
Mm,
off of social media. It's a lot of noise, right? A lot of
mhm,
people
mhm.
talking and interacting. And if you are an introvert, um, you understand that we need to unplug sometimes so that we can recharge.
Mhm.
Our social well is low
Yeah,
or it's empty,
yeah.
and we need to disconnect from the people, from the
The
noise,
world.
from the world, so that we can recharge. And so
Mhm.
what this looks like for me, something as simple as I'll just sit in my car, crack the window, and
Okay.
just be by myself.
Okay, that is a very economical way to do that. I'm a
Or
little bit more fancy. I will get a
yes, you
hotel
are.
room and do a staycation, and the
Do a
world will
staycation.
think I'm out of town.
That's right. And do a stay. And now the other thing that I do, and I talk about this in one of my courses, which we'll talk about later, is I call it putting your life on airplane mode. And it
Oh.
literally means taking your phone and putting it on airplane mode. Because what happens when your phone is on airplane mode, you can't use it and nobody can reach you.
This is true.
So if you do that, let's say you can't take a staycation, you can't go in your car, turn and don't even turn your phone off. Because sometimes we need to play our games.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on airplane mode for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it allows you to
I
disconnect.
might have to try that airplane mode. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Good job. Okay, we got the social. I got that hands down because I can be gone in a
I
minute.
know.
And everybody's wondering where the heck I am. I
Mhm.
at least I got one down. Good job. Now the spiritual rest,
Mhm.
is that like going to church?
It can be. For me, it is absolutely going to church.
Mm.
When I'm suffering from spiritual exhaustion, it is generally because I have disconnected from my source. Now, for me, as a Christian, my source is God. So when God and I aren't vibing, when I haven't had my prayer time, I ain't doing my devotionals, and I start feeling cranky and I start snapping on folk, that's usually an indication that I need some spiritual rest. Now, if
I'm
you do
glad you
not,
said that. I'm glad you said that because I need everybody to understand. I don't always cuss you out all the time.
no,
She has cussed me out a many a times, and I've just had to pray. Like, okay,
because she loves me, because she loves
I
me.
I
But
let her go at it, but go
but
ahead.
but really, and you don't have to come from a faith tradition. You don't have to be spiritual at all, because what spiritual rest does, it means that you are connected to whatever you need to be connected to that is bigger than you. It's your connection to things that allow you to find peace, that
Mhm.
allow you to find rest for your soul and your spirit. If
Mhm.
that means you are, meditating in nature, you're going for a walk, I have a girlfriend of mine who goes to the beach whenever she needs some spiritual rest.
Mhm.
She goes and just sits by the water, by a
Mhm.
waterfall, anything that just allows you to find that peace where
Mhm.
you
Music does that for me, like
music
gospel
does that,
music or whatever.
where you realize that it's not all about you.
Mhm.
That's that spiritual rest, that let me connect to something that's bigger than me, whatever that
Mm.
is for you.
Now, if working out connects you to your higher source,
Yep.
you've gotten your active what? You've gotten your active rest,
Your active
your
rest.
active
Yep.
physical rest. You've
Yep.
probably got your social rest, your mental rest, and
Yep.
your spiritual rest. Look at
Yep.
there.
All
Another
that
look,
after.
another confirmation that my butt needs to go to the gym. Dang, I'm trying to tell you, this was not my purpose of doing this show. All right. So we got the physical, mental, social, spiritual.
Mhm.
Now the sensory thing. Help me understand. I need to understand.
Oh, that's real. So we have five senses, right? So we have our sight and our hearing and our touch and our
Mm,
taste and
taste
our
it.
smell. When you need sensory rest, it literally means that you're overwhelmed. There's too much
Mm,
noise. There's too
mm-hmm,
many people around you.
mm-hmm,
There's you're seeing too much. Turn off the TV.
mm-hmm,
Put some headphones in. Listen to something other than MSNBC.
mm.
Um,
Okay.
Anything where your senses are causing you to act not how you
Or
normally act.
feel
When
overwhelmed.
you feel overwhelmed, when we get irritable, when we get cranky,
I
it
thought
is
that
really,
was just because I was hungry, but okay.
I mean, that too, because Lord knows I ain't ate yet today. Don't talk
Mm,
about me. But when our senses are overwhelmed, we need to back away. Here's the thing about me when it comes to my sense of taste. Sometimes I need sensory rest with my sense of taste when I'm not eating. Either I'm not eating the things I need to be eating, or I'm not eating things that I don't enjoy. So, like,
mm.
If you are trying to lose weight, I am not, because I'm not.
I
And
am.
you want a diet and it tells you to eat broccoli and you've been eating your broccoli, but you cranky because what you really want is a cheeseburger.
I'm getting a cheeseburger.
Get a
Is that
cheeseburger.
rest?
Get
That's
a
the rest.
cheeseburger. Get a cheeseburger because your senses are overwhelmed with the good. I believe in doing everything in moderation,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, like, I love carbs. I love pasta. I will eat pasta every day if you let me. But if I do that every day and I start to feel lethargic or things just don't taste the same way, I need to back up from that and give
Mhm.
that particular sense a rest. But yeah,
Mhm.
anytime you're overwhelmed, turn off the TV, put your headphones in, listen to
Mhm.
some music. Um,
I remember one time I went into this place. You know what? It was the it was the Essence Fest. I was speaking at Essence Fest,
mhm.
and I went into the actual Essence Fest before I had to speak to, see what it was like, experience it in that big, place,
Right.
right? As soon as I walked in the door, my entire senses were completely overwhelmed.
Yep.
Visually, lights blinking all over the place, hearing, it was loud, everything, smell, all kinds of good and bad smells. It was just it was hot, and then it was cold, and then it was hot.
Mhm.
It was just so much
Yep.
sensory that I think I only stayed in there for maybe 5 minutes, and I turned around and left.
Yep. Because it's too much.
It was a lot. So
Yeah.
that's where I do understand you can get your sensories can get very overwhelmed. It doesn't happen often,
Right.
but when it happens, you know.
Right. It's too much going on.
Mhm.
I'll be outside.
Right. That's what I did. I said, I got to step out for a minute. I got to step out. So if you have a friend and you're out in a club or whatever, and they say, I got to go step out for a minute, they're having sensory overload.
Yep.
They need rest.
I need rest.
I love it. Okay. Physical, mental, social, spiritual, sensory, emotional. What is
Listen.
this emotional rest?
Okay. So this is a big one for me because, I am married to a pastor. So I am the first lady of the church. So what that means is that I don't often get to express my emotions in in an authentic way because I have to think about who I am in relation to
And the perception and all
and
of
the
that.
perception of people. So when you need emotional rest, you need a space where you can just have an honest emotional moment, right?
Okay.
So
And
if you are the person in your friend group or in your family who is the one who's even keel, right? When
mhm,
all hell is breaking loose and folk losing their minds, you're the one who's just like, let's be calm. Let's think about this rationally.
that would be me.
Right. So you do that enough times and then they catch you on the right day at the wrong time and you snap. It's because you haven't had any emotional rest. You haven't had a place where you can just be like, you know what? How are you? I'm tired.
Mhm,
I'm hungry. I'm cranky. So and so them piss me off. I'm sad about this. I'm all of these things. So you need a place where you can be your authentic self.
mhm,
And when someone asks you how you are, it's not, oh, I'm great, when really you're not.
mhm,
A lot of depressive episodes happen because we've got these people who've put up the mask
mhm,
and they're smiling and it's
mhm,
all good, but behind the mask they are breaking.
mhm,
So when you get to that point,
mhm.
you need a
Well,
place.
all I can say is thank you for being my safe space for my emotional rest, because I know I be emotionally resting on you a lot.
I am glad to be that space for you because I
and
do the
just
same thing.
and you do the same thing. So I appreciate that you trust me enough to be your emotional rest as well. So that's really cool. Now we got the last one, creative. I would have never thought about the creative rest.
Yeah, especially since for quite a few of us, the creative side of us is where we get our rest. That's where we kind of disconnect and
Hmm.
unplug. But when you are creative all the time, like you are a creative, like you create stuff, you're creating content, you're creating websites, you're creating workshops, you're doing all the things. You know that you need creative rest when that creativity stops, when the stream stops flowing, when you can't think of another idea. I'm a creative. I can't think of another blog post. I can't think of another video. I can't think of another thing to talk about. I'm a writer, so writer's block. When nothing is clicking, nothing is coming. That's a sign that you need creative rest. When you can no longer be innovative,
it's time to rest.
It's time to rest. And
so that means stepping away, giving your doing that mental rest thing.
Taking a nap,
other things, taking a nap, or just
doing
moving away.
Something that is different than what you normally do.
And so, you know what, a lot of people will say that attention deficit, sometimes they'll call it that. And the reason why is because I'll work on something and then I just can't anymore. I may not be done, but I just can't anymore. So I'll go and work on something else, like a website. I may be working on someone's website and then I'm just done mentally with that. And I'll work on another website and then I'll work until I'm done. And then I'll go back because now I have a fresh set of eyes for that website, or I'll work on content, or I'll do something different, but I'm being creative, but I have to let that creative side rest, or let my eyes rest, or, let my voice rest. Because if I'm talking, I'm doing a lot of podcasts or interviews, that's being a creative. And then sometimes I have to let my voice rest. Okay. So I get it. So we have the physical, active and passive, mental, social, spiritual, sensory, emotional, and creative. You were right. There's 7 forms of rest.
Thank you, Dr. Sandra Bolton.
Ooh, I don't know. I need to find her so I can cuss her out for a minute. But those are very valuable. I might have to give her a hug too.
Yeah.
Because those are very, very valuable. I need to work on my rest, not just going to sleep, but getting the 7 types of rest, because that's going to help out. Thank you so much, Dr. Chantrise Sims Holliman, for always sharing your wisdom and being the resilience person. So if people want to connect with you, learn more about you, work with you, how can they get in contact with you?
You can, well, not you, because you've got all my information, but other people can go to drchantrise.com. That is my website. It's in the process of being upgraded. Another reason why I got to talk to you offline, because it's time for a refresh. But there you can learn more about me. You can connect with me there. If you are a social media person, I am all over Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook page is actually public. So if you just want to get in all of my, daily shenanigans, and I've got plenty of them, you can follow me. You can follow me there. You can check me out on Instagram, or you can go to drchantrise.com and we can connect there too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for disturbing the universe and for doing what you do. I love you so much.
I love you too.
And everybody else, thank you so much for watching, listening, liking, sharing, and most importantly, subscribing to the DUALpreneur podcast. Hey, if you know someone who is a DUALpreneur, they have a side business, they are a side hustle superhero, make sure you share this podcast with them. And just know that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it.